With the race just a few hours old, Puma cuts the corner on Ericsson 4 and surges into the lead. Hurtling downwind, Ken Reed's boat and the rest of the fleet are heading directly for the Straits of Gibraltar. The crew of Il Mostro, the monster, and their outfits are strangers to volume control. But beneath the swagger and poise, it's hard work and commitment that form the core of the campaign.
It's the Volvo still. You can make us look good, but it doesn't change the game. The Puma attitude is really good. It's been a lot of fun to be involved with that aspect, but the Volvo at the end of the day is hard work. You can look as flashy as you want, but you still have to work hard.
Kirby personifies Puma's challenge: tough, experienced, competitive.
We want to win every leg. That's where our head is at. We want to win every leg, and we know that's unrealistic. The fleet is just too good. You know, and there are two superpowers. You know, they're two boat programs, big budget, that have been at it for a long time, and you know, those guys will be the front runners.
The men on Il Mostro are well backed and well drilled. If their opponents foul up, Puma will pounce. Ken Reed's crew are making tracks, but Ericsson 4 are hard on their heels. For the pre-race favourites, failure of any kind is not an option.
Some of you might remember that last time we didn't do that well. This is hard for a leading company like Ericsson to accept.
After their humiliating 5th place in the last race, Ericsson immediately signed up the winning boat's designer, Juan Cumijan, launching a big-budget, two-boat campaign, the envy of their rivals. Ericsson 3, crewed by Anders Luander's Nordic team, was the first new generation Volvo Open 70 to hit the water, a mere test platform for the boat that followed. When the learning curve slackened, Ericsson 4 was produced to be skippered by legendary Brazilian sailor Torben Grael, his growing crew list studded with previous race winners. Massive investment in talent and technology mean Ericsson cannot afford to fail. Well-equipped and ruthless, they look bulletproof. For Luander's team on Ericsson 3, meanwhile, the race looks like it might have ended before it began. When the rest of the fleet received their rule compliance certificates in Alicante, Ericsson 3 did not. At issue were a small number of illegal cavities in its keel fin, but the penalties imposed for non-compliance were swift and harsh.
ERT shall be penalised by the deduction of 1 point at the conclusion of any day in which there has been one or more court races, by 1 point at each scoring waypoint, and by 2 points at the conclusion of each leg.
Until the keel can be replaced in Cape Town, the penalties will remain in force. Ericsson's response ranged from the indignant to the impassioned.
It is not the America's Cup. There is a spirit in the Volvo Ocean Race which has to be adhered to, and the Nordic team is here to become a part of that and become the future of the race.
We thought we had made it perfectly clear that we used the best endeavours possible to comply with the rules.
When we replace our fin, we'll be better off than we are today in terms of sailing, so the whole thing seems mad that we're getting penalised on a point system.
When the chips were down and we were standing around the boat at a meeting in Limerick, which isn't that very long ago now, Ger came in and he basically said, listen lads, I know I can make this happen. I might not be able to make it happen in the next week, but I will make it happen in the next 3 weeks. That belief and determination is the reason why all of us are here today.
Under-resourced and overworked, Ger O'Rourke's Delta Lloyd team is unlikely to challenge the likes of Ericsson anytime soon.
There's 3 or 4 guys fighting for final position in maybe 1, maybe 2 positions. We'll call it today.
Crew selection, like much else in the Dutch-Irish campaign, was not finalised until 2 days before the import race. O'Rourke's boat is the much-modified ABN AMRO 1, runaway winner of the 05-06 event. It was race day morning before it received its compliance certificate, but the Team Russia collision left it being hauled out for repair just a few hours later.
My first impression was that after the collision was, oh God, there goes the offshore, you know. They've apologised, we've shaken hands and we're buddies again. They're good guys really, they just made a mistake. And we all make mistakes.
Back on the water, as the pace slows on the approach to Gibraltar, the Ericsson boats move to the head of the fleet. European waters will soon be behind them, the North African coast and the Atlantic ahead. On Telefonica Blue, Bauer Becking is all too aware of the challenges that lie in front of him. A veteran of 5 previous races, the Dutchman's story is one of courage and dogged determination.
You might have to release the pressure a little bit in the raft, guys.
When he and his crew were forced to abandon the ill-fated Movistar mid-Atlantic, her keel compromised and a storm approaching, Becking's 05-06 campaign looked like being his last. Movistar was never recovered. But somehow Becking's self-belief remained intact.
It's just good to go through where we actually made a mistake yesterday.
2 years on, the Dutchman is back as the skipper of Telefonica Blue and overall sporting director of the 2-boat Telefonica Syndicate, expected to give Ericsson the best run for their money.
All right. ¿Qué pasa, tíos? Yeah, it's definitely unfinished business. Like, of course, last race we didn't make the finish, and that's just a horrible feeling. And looking at the crystal ball, there would have been a big chance to end up on the podium. And this time we've done way more homework on the design, and we've got a great team. So yeah, hopefully we can finish the business this time.
After 2 wins out of 2 in the Alicante import races, Telefonica's faith in Bauer Becking looks well placed. To be leaving their home port first and second overall is a dream start for the Spanish boats. But there's news from the Blue Boat. Less a dream than a nightmare. Becking's opening night curse looks to have struck yet again.